All right, let's dive right into this explainer and see how we can totally transition your automation architecture from, that clunky manual JSON wrangling into seamless AI-driven workflow generation. If you've been relying on standard LLMs to spit out workflow code only to painfully copy, paste, and debug it in your environment, well, pay close attention. Because we're looking at a massive, fundamental shift in how developers interact with n8, and it's all thanks to the Model Context Protocol, or MCP.
Now, when the actual n8n engineering team says something like, "I haven't manually built a workflow in weeks," you'd think they're just exaggerating, right? Well, they're not. It's literally true. The tools they've built into this new MCP put automated workflow generation in just a completely different league. We are no longer just asking an AI to format code and crossing our fingers that it parses. We're actually giving the AI direct API-level access to the engine itself.
So here's our roadmap for today. 1. The n8n MCP advantage. 2. Claude Desktop setup. 3. Coding agents with Claude Code. 4. Model-agnostic power via OpenCode. And 5. Securing your access token.
Starting with Part 1, the n8 MCP advantage.
Okay, the crucial architectural shift you need to grasp here is that we are absolutely done copying and pasting raw JSON code. Instead, the n8n team actually wrote a brand new workflow syntax and an SDK that is optimized specifically for language models to interface with. The AI isn't just hallucinating structure and hoping for the best anymore. It's speaking the native programmatic language of the platform.
And check this out. Through this MCP connection, your AI agent can natively verify schemas, spin up data tables, pin data for context, and even test the workflows. And the absolute best part? Zero manual copy-pasting. The AI fires the payload directly into your instance. Oh, and this works across all n8n plans. Yep, even the free community edition, as long as you're running version 2.18.3 or higher.
Let's move on to Part 2, the Claude Desktop Setup Guide.
Right now, benchmarks show that Claude Code, specifically with the Opus model, is really the top performer for planning out these workflows. And because n8n is an official native connector, getting it set up is an absolute breeze. You just head over to your n8n settings, enable instance-level MCP, and copy your server URL. Then pop over to Claude Desktop's Customize tab, add the n8n connector, paste that URL, and just accept the redirect to authorize. Boom, you're connected.
Once you're connected, here's a massive pro tip for you. Go in and set your read-only tools to auto-approve. This totally unblocks your AI, letting it run rapid loops to check schemas or read environments without having to stop and ask you for permission every single time. But absolutely keep your right tools strictly on manual approval. You always want to have the final say before anything creates or deletes data on your system.
All right, Part 3, coding agents, specifically Claude Code.
So, stepping away from the UI for a second, let's talk about deploying local terminal coding agents. Basically, by giving an agent like Claude Code access to a dedicated directory, let's say you name it your n8n developer folder, you're giving it read and write permissions to actively manipulate files right there on your local machine. You are essentially running an autonomous assistant directly in your own environment. But to dictate exactly how this agent behaves and what its boundaries are, you need to inject a system prompt. You do this using a simple configuration file right in that directory. Claude Code is hardwired to look for a file named claude.md, while other agents might look for agents.md. This simple markdown file basically acts as the core brain and the rulebook for your whole local setup.
Now, you could definitely be a little lazy and just ask the agent to bootstrap its own baseline prompt file. But the real magic happens when you get in there and manually refine it. By expanding that claude.md file with your own architectural preferences, your naming conventions, your specific error handling rules, or how you like your node structured, you give it strict context. And honestly, setting up those explicit constraints is the absolute secret sauce to drastically improving how accurately the agent generates your workflows.
Moving right along to Part 4, Model-Agnostic Power with Open Code.
Since n8n uses the standard MCP protocol, you are absolutely not locked into Anthropic's ecosystem. You can totally use a model-agnostic agent like OpenCode. And guys, this is where it gets incredibly meta. Because coding agents can edit local files, you can literally ask OpenCode to bootstrap itself. You just paste in a setup prompt, hand it the configuration JSON from your n8n settings, and instruct it to configure its own local environment files. The agent literally does all the heavy lifting for you.
Finally, Part 5, securing your access token.
To actually authorize the terminal securely so it has permission to push workflows, you've got to inject your n8n access token. And just a quick heads up on the user experience here, because this throws a lot of people off. When you paste this token into the prompt, it uses standard Unix invisible pasting for security. You literally won't see the text appear on your screen. Don't panic, just hit enter, let it replace the placeholder in your config file, and restart your agent to initialize the connection.
And that's it. Your local agents are now fully authenticated and ready to build. The dark ages of manual JSON wrangling are officially over. I highly recommend you hit up the official n8n forum thread to share your edge cases, your feedback, and push this system to its absolute limits. But as you get all this set up today, I want to leave you with this thought. If our local AI agents can now configure their own environments, write their own code, and deploy complex integration pipelines completely autonomously, what part of the stack are we even going to be responsible for tomorrow? Get your workspace ready, because in our next explainer, we're going to build something entirely autonomous. See you then.